Hello everyone. We were waiting for a couple of minutes for other people to join. So now I think we can start, and Shubhankar as well has joined. Welcome, Shubhankar. First of all, let me give an intro to Shubhankar. So he scored rank 52 this year in CC 2025, and he was Collector Babu's Zenith subscriber for 2 consecutive years, and he used to write really good answers, and he has scored. I mean, his score is very good in mains, and you can use this session to ask your doubts if you're appearing in 2026 mains, or whether you're targeting 2027 and beyond. You can ask your doubts. We did share a link where people posted their questions, so we will include those questions. But apart from that, if you have any other questions, you can paste in chat, or later on in the Q&A session you can unmute yourself and ask your questions. And we will keep this session interactive, uh, so that most of you people benefit the max from it. And okay, let's start. So Shubhankar, first maybe you can brief your journey to everyone. You can tell us about your journey, like when did you start, how many attempts, how many mains. Let's start with that.
Yes, sir. So I took 3 attempts to reach here. In 2023, I failed three, and then I appeared for 2024 when I subscribed for Collector Babu's evaluation plan, and in that I cleared mains and reached interview. And by I think 11 marks, I was not able to make it to the final list. And this year was my third attempt, and I scored 816 marks in mains and 195 in interview. So this was a brief journey, and I feel that uh, even in the 3 attempts, I think it's mains that really helped me improve my score and get a rank. So I think and since mains is now in less than 60 days, I think we should people who are appearing should focus on that and hope that this session helps even like slightly.
Yeah, so let's start with the ones who are appearing this year in 2026. What should be the strategy? Let's address an open-ended question for those who are appearing in 2026, and of course, then we'll move to those who could not qualify pre, or those who are planning to appear later on.
Sir, so I think there should be two strategies. Firstly, I'll since I've been both a person who is appearing for mains first time and has prepared between pre-results and mains itself. In 2024, I did that. I think all the answer writing practice as well as getting my structure in order was between the prelims result and the mains. However, in 2024, we had around 90 days. But this time now, we usually get 70 days. And then second part of my strategy will talk about candidates who are retaking mains so that they know how to maximize their score because they've already went through the process once. Uh, Firstly, the people who are appearing for the first time, it will seem very overwhelming, assuming that the basics are clear and despite this year's pre, uh, the conceptual clarity is there, even though it was not sought for with such a unpredictable paper. So the first thing for people to do is that start writing. What I did in my first attempt while the 3 months, so if we take the timeline for a day of about 10 hours, then out of those 10 hours, irrespective of what subject or optional I'm studying, I used to write for 6 hours continuously. And continuously, uh, continuously, it was also uh, it included answer writing, but it also meant note making. So it does not need to be rigorous timed writing for 6 hours. That will only burn you out. But the thing for me was that being an engineer and then being working in a at a software developer position, writing practice was something that I hadn't had since university. So to get attuned to writing 6 hours, that too at that speed during the D day, it's important to make sure that you start slow. And like for the first month or so, 6 hours consistently, I made sure that I made my notes. There, I already had some optional notes ready because of one of the courses that I took, but I refined them a lot because I was out of touch after failing 2023 pre. I didn't touch my optional for a year, which is geography, and the revision took time. And then to make sure that you are also simultaneously developing the structure and the art of answer writing, which is very important. Previous year questions, I used to pick 5 random questions from the topic I'm studying in GS. And then I used to, without time, try to establish a structure, try to brainstorm as well as put down points and examples in the way I think I would be able to recreate within the time limit. So it was not wordy. It had crisp introductions, crisp subheadings, way forwards, and conclusions. And this, I made sure that I learned this from the topper copies. And then once I used to write 5 questions, I used to upload the PDF, get it evaluated on the platform, and then on the margin when we get the strengths, weaknesses, and suggestions, it's important to read the weaknesses a lot, and then suggestions part is something that needs to go in back to your base notes, so that that's an additional value addition or an additional conceptual point that will give you an edge when your examiner sees your answer. So this is what I did for out of the 90 days. I think the first 40-45 days did this. And once there was enough confidence about one pagers, I used to write 2 full length tests a week while maintaining this. Uh, for optional, I did not write full length tests in both my mains attempts. I think the depth and the answer writing style for the humanities optionals, you need in-depth knowledge, which is much more specialized when it is compared to GS. So sectional tests for the for optional is, I think, a better return and getting it evaluated. That way, once we are getting it evaluated anywhere, when I got it evaluated with the Zenith plan, there was a lot of specialized knowledge in geography that was not there in the textbooks and are fairly recent when it comes to their discourse in the geographical sphere. So based on that, I used to include that. So it's a game of constant improvement as well as replication. So I'll dwell on these 2 words specifically for the people who are appearing for the first time. Replication is that you don't need to invent your writing style. You just need to study enough topper copies because they have made it. My opinion was that they have made it because they must be doing something right. And then I replicated what suited me. Everyone has a style. So your style should actually be a collection of other toppers whose writing style resonates with you. Then constant improvement is where once you have developed your style, there will always be some loopholes as well as some gaps in your style. That's where evaluation comes in, and uh, that's where then you value add, then you add new theories, then you also notice the weaknesses that, oh, you have not specifically written the name of a very prominent personality or a very prominent event or a scheme on a question. For example, if we are talking about constitutionalism and you do not talk about uh, various cases like Keshwan and Bharti and how it has evolved, and miss out on very basic details. And it is very natural to have that while you are going, while you are overwhelmed with the preparation and forget very key but basic points. That's where weaknesses point and improvement, how to improve that particular point through value addition comes in play. So this is what I did, and in my first mains I scored 770 marks. It was still, I think, 30 or 40 marks above the mains cutoff, due to which I appeared in the interview. So it is possible within 3 and 2.5 months to push through and try to clear the mains cutoff. And I'm pretty sure that if I had been smart about a few other things, I would have improved that score further that year with itself. But I was lucky enough to clear the pre again and appear for it. And now coming to the strategy of people who are retaking mains. For anyone who is around 650 to 700 or above and is not able to clear the cutoff, or is less than 800, the goal for everyone should be to go into the interview room with a surety that you will cross 800 marks in mains. And once you are doing that, then irrespective of how the interview goes, which can be very subjective, you will be making to the list. This is a very basic trend that has been happening. So to make sure to, I had to improve around 30 marks compared to my last attempt. And then I have also had the privilege to interact with a few other toppers, fellow toppers, who actually improved scores by 100, 120, 140 between two mains. The key is value addition. Since you are writing and scoring around 600, 700 marks in mains, I'm pretty sure that you are able to grasp the question. It only the problem where you're not able to cross the cutoff or the 800 mark is that pristine presentation as well as targeted value addition is missing. General general points can take you so far, and it's a good answer, and a lot of questions and a lot of evaluators really appreciate that. But to add that cherry on top, we need targeted value additions as well as very very specific case studies and examples. For example, when I was studying for GS3, it is a very dynamic and a very tough subject to have a good score in. And I made sure that when I'm studying agriculture, I would not just give an example like, if we are talking about sustainable farming models, for example, I'll not just write mixed farming. It is a very generic thing that everyone in the competition is going to write. I went through and I went on the internet as well as utilized chat GPT to fetch out exact models that is present and prevalent in our country. For example, in 2024, I did not know that Madhya Pradesh has a mixed farming model where tamarind, amla, as well as marigold is cultivated together for maximum output. But in 2025, I collected similar examples in all subjects and made sure that I use them actively. And the second principle for reappearing candidates should be that there needs to be a subtle balance of quality and quantity. There is always a debate that, oh, the number of points should be a lot, its quality can be low. And some say ki write only 4 quality points, but it should really be impactful. We need to actually average it out and make sure that if in a subheading I'm aiming to write 6 to 7 points, the first three will be of pristine quality and the rest can have average quality. In no way we should just aim and be happy with having mediocre and very generalistic points. It will only reduce your chances of clearing the cutoff for mains. So it's very important that we make sure quality points, then some quality examples, then your peripheral knowledge about that for 0.456. And this is how I made sure that I increased the content of my answer sheet, as well as I made sure that there is depth in the arguments I'm making for any topic. And for both the people, first time taking the people who are taking mains for the first time, and the people who are taking reattempts for mains, Uh, do not ignore ethics and essay. I think this is something that everyone has been stressing upon. Ethics and essay are very interrelated, and the examples and content that you learn for ethics can be very well now be utilized in essay, because a lot of prompts and topics and questions are now philosophical in nature, and philosophy and ethics go hand in hand. You cannot have any philosophical knowledge if you do not know the essentials of ethics. What is morality? What is integrity? Some examples, some anecdotes, some events. So make sure that you do simultaneous preparation. And one thing that really helped me in between my two attempts was that I really focused a lot on these two papers in my second attempt, where I think I scored 120 in ethics. And essay, I still think that I was not able to be at par with my expectations. But I did improve 9 marks from my previous attempt. From 96, I scored 105. So it is very tough to actually manage essay, but I would recommend write at least 10 essays. Not saying papers, but like that will be 5 papers, but at least 5 papers of essays should be practiced. So this is the general strategy. Now we can, sir, uh,
Yeah,
delve
yeah.
deeper.
So what Shubhankar mentioned right now. So many people are of the view, or they think that clearing again means again and again, like uh, there is subjectivity in the process, so people might not qualify next time. But his example and other toppers example show that there is a scientific approach to mains. It's not as subjective as what people think it to be. So of course prelims is definitely tricky, but mains is something where you can scientifically approach and improve your papers, identify your weaknesses, and you can see your scores improve, right? And one more thing that he mentioned, for intro and conclusions, he referred to other toppers answers. So for that I'd suggest students, so we have this tool called topper answer search tool, where we have made a repository of last 10-year rankers, and you can, just as you prompt in AI, similar way you can prompt there, you write your prompts, ask questions. Suppose how do toppers approach a question on federalism, this kind of query you can put there, and you'll get the list of all toppers answers related to federalism, along with that particular page in the PDF where they have written the answers. So you can make use of this, and of course create your introduction conclusions repository before the real mains exam. So one more thing, Shubhankar, which somebody asked, that how does one recover mid-exam after one of their papers go bad? So does it mean that it is the end for them, or they can really recover?
Sir, recovery is highly possible. Uh, so there are two aspects related to it. Before that, I really just want to second what you said, that it is mains is scientific, and in my opinion, the only predictable stage of this whole examination process. So don't think that there is subjectivity. There is subjectivity everywhere in this exam, but make sure, do understand that this only this stage, these 9 papers, luck plays the least, uh, has the least effect compared to the other two stages. Now coming back to the recovery part, you need to be resilient. So firstly, the recovery part starts from your mocks and FLTs at home or at the coaching center or anywhere that you are writing, because there will be initial mocks will be disheartening. You will not be able to complete paper. You will think that you have written subpar answers. You might even leave a few questions just to make sure that you finish the paper on time. But I would say that towards the last month or so, start writing 2 papers uh, in a day. Like across a week, have 2 days where you're writing 2 papers each. And this way, you are also training your brain that if your first paper goes bad, or even a paper earlier this week was bad, and then suppose you took 2 tests on Monday, one of it was bad, then you are attempting on Friday, you you learn to carry the baggage of a bad paper. So you need to grow that resilience. If you are protecting yourself from the harshness, then mains can be harsh for you on the real day, and then that is a devastating experience. I did not have per se a bad paper throughout both my attempts, but since it was my first attempt in 2024, and one of the reasons I think why I scored less than 100 in essay in 2024 was I had very little practice, and I had not prepared how to write two essays within 3 hours. I used to practice one essay individually for 1.5 hours. And then I realized that you need to also practice two essays simultaneously. So what happened on the main essay day was that I took around 2 hours to complete only one essay, and then I only had 1 hour to complete the second essay, and I rushed through it. And that was the first paper of the whole cycle. But somewhere I knew that essay was already not my strong suit, so I brushed it off. And then I went with the same rigor that I need to complete all other papers to maximize my score, my chance of clearing the mains cutoff. So one of the things I also missed in the strategy was that irrespective of what your knowledge level is, all pages of your answer booklet needs to be filled, and you need to practice that. Leaving a question in mains is not an option. Sure,
One
there are
related
anomaly.
related follow-up. Sorry, I like to stop here. How does one approach a question where they know nothing about nothing, or
Right.
let's say 20-30% they have knowledge? How to approach those kind of questions?
Right, so there's a personal anecdote. So GS1 2025, my history is rather poor. It's not recommended that you guys ignore history, but somehow I've never been able to matlab, make myself sit down and study it deeply. I always used to do a very half-polished job and be very superficially prepared for history, both prelims and mains. So there was a question on Khajuraho temples and its sculptures and iconography. I had no clue. And to admit, I also drew a map indicating that Khajuraho is not in Madhya Pradesh but in West Bengal. That was one of the mistakes I committed. But then you build a good enough knowledge base while preparing for mains that you know general keywords of any topic. When they asked about sculptures, and I knew the general area, even though I was off by at least 1,000 kilometers, that general area and temple architecture of that period, I knew. Then I wrote 5 points about its features. I I wrote that it is about certain Hindu gods. Then it is using sandstone because it is Central India and that is the only stone available for temples at that period. So, this particular peripheral knowledge that you gain while you are preparing, consciously, you use it. Then, since you are also appearing for an exam which establishes your career in the administrative field, so I always had a style where I used to conclude all answers with a way forward from the administrative perspective. So I knew that since culture and its spread as well as its knowledge in India is on the decline, and there are various efforts that are being carried out by the Ministry of Culture, then ASI, and I used certain schemes to make sure that they are not only preserved, maintained, but also culturally promoted at various forums, and then gave a forward-looking conclusion. So that might have not given me even 4 marks. That would have given me 2 marks, but I'm not getting zero. And if I had a 2 marks difference right now in my final score, then I would have been shifted to IPS even, and not be getting a rank to secure IES. So if the level of competition is so that 2 marks can determine your service, it's important that we gather those 2 marks and not leave a question just because you don't know it exactly. For every mains paper, there will be at the best of your preparation, there will be around 17 to 18 questions you'll know about. and the rest too, you can either have 10% idea or 0% idea. And we make sure that we use the accumulated knowledge of those 18 well-known questions and apply it to the no, the less prepared ones, and make sure that you fill the pages. So this is how you deal with something that is unknown territory in
Right,
mains.
right, right. And there's a obviously a marginal increase you'll see in, suppose in a question you don't know anything about. So it is relatively easier to go from 0 to 2 marks as compared to going from 5 to 6 or 7. So you should definitely approach those questions, right? So for 2027 and beyond aspirants, like what do you think, Shubhankar? Till which months they should prepare for mains before shifting to prelims? And also somebody asked in the chat, I'll include that question since it's related, that how they start essay writing.
Right, sir. Sir, I am still not the best person to recommend about essay, but I'll still give my 2 cents. Firstly, uh, there are much more brilliant people with brilliant marks this time. But to start with essay writing, I had a principle where the earlier mistake I was doing is I was just writing a series of examples with no core knowledge of mine or no words of mine. It might, so my essay in 2024 looked like it started from Gandhiji, then somehow it went to Leo Tolstoy, somehow then it came to present governance, then some international relation happening, some world history lesson. And this is how I was conveying my points in anecdotes. And that is very tough to read. So one thing I figured out after that, I came back and I read a lot of previous toppers copies. Like I remember reading Vikram Grewal sir's and copy firstly, and the impression I got was that in one page of that particular essay, 75% of the words are his own ingenuity, and then the 25% words are something that are taken from an anecdote or taken from a particular event or a world happening. So I knew that I need to firstly develop to the skill of writing anything in my own words, which I lacked. Because in mains also, you are technically just reproducing information that you have read. So forward to start essay preparation is firstly pick any general topic. You can take a previous year essay prompt and then only have 3 pages with you. And the challenge is without naming anyone, without mentioning any anecdote, without writing any story, if you have to write on the pressing issue, that is the core ask of that particular prompt, will you be able to write at least 10 paragraphs in those 3 pages in your own words and your own ingenuity? Practice that 3 4 times. This is now what essay writing should be. And now what you need to do is make sure you create your essay fodder. Then at the beginning you will have an intro that should be hook, that should have a hook, then the transitions, then the words which help you glide through the paragraphs, then your argument, and then you add an example, and then a antithesis. After that, conclude with what your point was, supporting the thesis of that particular essay. So this is the general approach. But the key activity that I mentioned was write about something in 3 pages without using any anecdotes and any examples or any quotes. That will help you develop a skill to write on your own. Secondly, sir, I think coming to the question of when to study for mains. Uh, I for the people who are appearing in 2027 and later, firstly, uh, remove this notion from your mind that if you are studying till XYZ month for mains, it will not help you for prelims. You need to have your basics ready. So even if you do it till December and then you have written some tests and you have your answer structure ready, in January, when you start for prelims, you will understand that these months that you have grinded away to get the core understanding of polity, geography, economy, and then using examples and value addition to write long answers, MCQs will start to appear a little more familiar, but you will still need to develop that aptitude. So the simple answer is that there is no specific and insulated timeline where you are specifically preparing for mains and prelims, because whatever you study in prelims, once you qualify prelims, that knowledge does not just fade away, it will help you in mains. But answer writing wise, do it till December. After that, make sure that the tests that you are writing are MCQ based for prelims, and do not neglect CSAT. Do answer writing till December, then start in January. From Feb mid, you should also start CSAT. If someone who is very proficient in maths, then they can start it later. Despite being an engineer in 2023, I failed CSAT only. So do not neglect CSAT with the rising unpredictability of that paper as well. And write one CSAT test every week or two. And this is the general timeline that I think everyone should follow.
All right. So coming to mentorship, Shubhankar, Collector Babu also has a one-on-one mentorship plan where Jaikrit Vatsal sir, who is a previous IT Kanpur graduate, and he has given like 6 mains and is almost a decade of experience guiding rankers as well as students. So how does one-on-one mentorship help? What is your view on that?
Yes, sir. Sir, one-on-one mentorship helps in the sense, firstly, you wrote a test, you got it evaluated. So before writing a test, you went through topper's copy. That's somewhere you gathered information. Then you wrote a test, you got it evaluated. Then you incorporate that. But the real thing is to understand that how copies are being checked by the real examiner. A one-on-one mentor would actually help in the sense that once you have written, suppose 10 answers, you directly sit on a call with him or her, and like an examiner, for the first time, the mentor will go through your copy and give you first hand comments. Those first hand comments are much more important than what is written in the value addition suggestions, because these are the pressing issues in your answers that are lowering your marks. As well as they will also help you identify strengths that, oh, I'm for the first time, I'm an examiner opening a person's copy. This looks very beautiful. I am going to definitely give 1 mark extra. I'll keep this into account. It will also help you make sure that what you have done good in one answer, you replicate it across other 20 to make sure that this 1 or zero point 0.5 marks gets accumulated and then help you improve your score. That way, having an experienced mentor who gives you, even if it is a plain truth that if the answer is bad, then you need to face it and get it. If it is good, then you need to understand what is lacking and also maximize on your strength. This is, I think, what is missing usually in evaluations. And that's why I think one on one mentorship can be beneficial. And it also helps with dealing with phases of lows. So, if suppose you have performed badly in one particular mock, I'm pretty sure that a mentor who has been mentoring for 10 years knows that while knowledge is important, a steady mental state and motivation is also very important throughout pains to keep you consistent. So, a mentor would try to nurture that particular student and help him or her in feeling a little better if the performance was not up to the mark. And once the improvement is there because of that particular instance where mental health was preserved, you would understand that having some interaction from an experienced person during your evaluation would give you benefits.
Absolutely. So now moving on, Shavankar, to other questions. Some questions might be already addressed by you right now. So feel free to cut short there. So first question that we take is how to complete the paper within 3 hours. Do even toppers have to compromise on the quality of the last few answers due to time constraints?
Uh, Firstly, no, you do not need to compromise on any uh, answer. To complete, I'll give you the how I progressed and made sure that I completed all my papers with same quality. Uh, Harsh sir already mentioned that it is very easy to go from 0 to 2 or 3, but very tough to go from 4 to 5 marks. That's the principle that was in my mind from day one. That means that if you suppose only know 18 questions and don't know two, it does not mean that now, since I'm not going to attempt two questions, I'll give extra time to the other 18 questions and improve their quality. That will not change your marks a lot. If I know topic one better, but topic two only in an average manner, I still give the equal amount of time to both the questions. That's the only thing that I practiced simultaneously, rigorously throughout both my mains prep days. 7 minutes for a 10 marker and 11 minutes for a 15 marker is are the golden numbers that will make sure that you always complete your paper. And I'll give you one thing. You'll think that, oh, right now I am completing one FLT in 3 hours, 40 minutes. I did that too. But before reaching that particular D day, I think 1 week before both mains, I was within 3 hours, 5 minutes through practice. And with the rush that you have on the main day and the excitement, as well as the uh, fight or flight response in which your body is writing the answers, that is, well, I think you always get to spare 1 or 2 minutes to actually flip through and admire what you have written so rigorously in the 3 hours on the main day in the exam hall. So start attempting, even if it is 3 hours, 40 minutes, 3 hours, 30 minutes, know where you stand right now. Based on that, now the habit that will help you reduce it to 3 hours, 5 minutes, or 3 hours, 10 minutes, firstly, is to constantly have a watch. You need to train your hand and eye coordination in a way where between answers at least there are two instances where you glance at your watch. So within first, if I'm attempting a 10 marker, I use within the first 2 minutes I used to glance at the watch, and my aim was to have at least 60 to 65% of the first page filled by that time. And then the second time is fifth minute. I should be on the second page and up across the middle. Then the last 2 minutes or 1.5 minutes that are left is for concluding and way forward. Just do this exercise again and again, where you train your hand-eye coordination to simultaneously check the watch while you maintain answers. Then once you have done, make sure that the next question you read it as fast as possible. So you need to also train your interpretation skills, as that you are grasping the question and what they are asking, and in your mind also starts subdividing the topics. If they are asking problems, if they are asking solutions of any topic, then the subheading should automatically get created in your mind as soon as you are reading the question. After that, repeat. You don't, after you have completed one answer, you don't go back to it no matter what. You don't think about it. It's done. Those 7 minutes was all it deserved. After that, not even a single nanosecond of thought should be wasted on that particular answer. Even if you have made some big blunder, you cannot go back to correct it. You make sure that the next 7 minutes, which are dedicated to the next question, should only be dedicated to that particular question. And this is something that you should start with small things. So now that I've given the particular aspect to how to come to 3 hours, 5 minutes, also it is not possible to always be writing FLTs. So what I used to do is I used to take 5 10 marker questions, and the aim was to complete it in 35 minutes. But I used to aim for 33 minutes. And then between 33 to 35 minutes, I used to write with the same approach that I just demonstrated. And in 35 minutes I am working on my writing speed as well, and then I have rest of the time to revise and make sure that I analyze my quality as well. So do this daily, and then weekly one FLT with the same principle to make sure that from 3 hours 30 minutes you are reaching 3 hours 5 minutes before the exam.
This is very helpful. This time-wise breakdown of how you approach an individual answer, at what time, where you are. this is a very helpful advice, I'd say, for students. So next question, somebody asked how to use the Collector Babu portal in an appropriate manner, and what are some things that I should keep in mind while viewing and taking their feedback.
Yes, sir. So the best thing that I utilized it was for, and even though I was part of a test series where I was getting evaluated copies, I made sure that for the value addition and uh, the content that Collector Babu provides, I am going to simultaneously upload it there and get it evaluated. The Firstly, the marks, even though I advise that marks should be the least priority when you are getting a review. Uh, Even the marks are much more scaled and sensical in Collector Babu, so it does not break confidence. First of all, if you are doing well, and if you're not up to the mark yet, it is still a motivating factor. So the it is very homogenized as well as standardized. So that's the good point. Then, while the focusing on the evaluation part, make sure you look at the strengths at last, but look at the weaknesses and what you have missed first. That should hit you like a nail in your head. That for us, or for a straightforward question like emergency period, if I'm not mentioning 1975 Indira Gandhi regime, or I missed completely mentioning this particular word, then you should feel that particular regret that this was something that is so coherent and inherent to this particular topic that without this the examiner would always get into the mindset that this person is trying to bluff or fake information. So weaknesses first, then come to strengths, that you have done this good. Then make sure that these strengths, are they consistent across all the answers? If not, then make sure that you make strengths consistent across all answers, be it your handwriting, be it your diagram inclusion, be it catchy introductions, be it good structure. All this needs to be taken into account, that I am doing this perfectly already. I make sure that wherever I write, whatever subject I write, I am going to maintain this. Then comes the suggestions to improve part. Those are very targeted as well as very intellectually stimulating examples that if you use them to support your points, I'm pretty sure any professor or the examiner who is well read as well as master of the subject as they usually are would appreciate this. And the suggestions are also very current affairs oriented. So it is very important that you relate your basic general points with the happenings around your world, and that is how I think this can help you uh, improve your answer. And this is something I did after every upload, and it only takes 2 hours or 1.5 hours to go through this process, but make sure that we you can keep on doing this.
Yeah, and one more thing, Shubhankar mentioned that he used to revise the Collector Babu evaluations.
Hmm.
Basically, in the dashboard, we provide all the evaluations at one place. So he did make use of that as well. So yeah, you can use it to
Sir,
revise.
only Collector Babu. So for every subject, I just combined the PDFs. And before examination, one thing that actually helps, no matter how many mocks you write, subject wise, combine those evaluated PDFs and just revise, because some of the questions pains is predictable. So some of the questions get repeated. And once you have already revised the suggestions as well as the answers you have already written, it helps you really stimulate your brain and the actual exam. So for Collector Babu evaluated copies, I really did that for even optional.
Right. So another question somebody has posted in the chat here. There are a lot many questions, so we'll keep them short. So somebody is asking, I'm able to motivate myself max to 3 days, and then on day 4 there is somewhat motivation fading away and comes a lot of distraction. How do you motivate yourself? So something. How do you keep yourself persistent in 2 3 years of preparation? Your quick view on that, Shvankar.
Sir, I don't want to go into the basic thing of discipline, because yeah, it is required, and I really I think it is a very important virtue to have. But to be very honest and candid on this platform, where I've been candid, that I have had my share of lows all the time. There were times when for 1 month I did not touch a book and I was playing video games, and that happens. Just make sure that it does not happen between pre and mains. Otherwise, you are doomed. Uh, so just give your brain some space to relax. It's okay if you are not studying. If you study for 8 hours daily and on the for 3 days, and on the fourth day you are only doing five, be a little forgiving towards yourself. If you are not, though, that fourth day will expand into sixth day, seventh day, and it will just be a vicious cycle. Some days also let loose, keep your friends and family close. That actually resets your brain chemistry and helps you come back stronger. And physical activity to keep your body generally fit is something that I recommend. When it came to the stressful period between prelims and mains, it is, I think discipline was very tough to maintain. But I found solace in food, so I used to really order in a lot of food to feel better after a tough study session. So these are like dopamine hacking techniques where after I've studied for 10 hours, this is my small reward. I can have a pizza, a burger, or anything. Your dopamine releaser can be anything else. But secondly, this is something that usually people don't say because it sounds negative. But ego, you need to be egotistical towards your lesser self. Don't be egotistical towards the world, but you should look down upon what you were yesterday than what you are today. And if you think that what you were yesterday and today are the same, then you have not really done anything good in one day. So small increments and look down on your past self is something that really helps you going. And once you actually look at it on a broader perspective, then you understand that you have really come very far from what you were at, say, 6 months ago. And always keep challenging yourself and keep putting steep targets for yourself, because body is what you train it for. It is just a vessel, and whatever you make your body do, it will perform it after a point. So there is no rest for the wicked one once you are appearing for mains. Go study 10 hours, go study 12 hours, even do 14. But yeah, it comes with consequences. You will definitely ace mains if you do that. But after that, be prepared for at least 1.5 months, 2 months of burnout, because I am responsible for this particular ideology. I'll just tell you that both the times I also cleared forest prelims and was eligible to write forest mains. Both the time, because of burnout, I did not even sit in the exam. So this is what happens. If you push a lot, you will also have a lot of time to recover. But make sure that there is no other option but to really dedicate yourself towards it.
Absolutely. So another question from a 2027 aspirant, like when preparing through self-study, how can one uh, track themselves as they complete a subject? As PYQs or coaching institute test series often assume complete knowledge of syllabus, or at time differs than the sequence of subjects we decide to cover in. Okay, so basically the question is on how one tracks their uh, study when doing self-study. And another question is on notes. So on notes, we'll covering one question where everybody will combine everybody's question. So yeah,
Mm.
let's first address how does tracking work in self-study.
So tracking, I I think I just followed simple things where if I'm doing polity, the index was the tracker. I just used two different colors of pen to make sure how many revisions of that particular topic has been done. But I think rather than my method, now there is a better method. There is a lot of micro theme analysis of various materials are available. So once you find the micro themes, just copy it in an Excel, create 3 columns. First is first reading, second is one pager, third is revision. On an Excel, just keep tracking it and that. And if not Excel, a lot of people must be having Claude or anything. Even on a sheet, you can write it, do it physically. And these three things are important. First, reading of a micro topic, one pager note, which is very essential for mains. And then how many times you have revised, you can use tally marks for that in the third column. That's how you track. It's very simple. I don't want to complicate it. Uh, and make sure that for any subject, even if you hate it, you need to be at least 80% clear with the syllabus and have at least 95% of conceptual clarity. After that, if you're leaving a topic, say I left ancient history completely for prelims, that's okay. But I knew the basics and I knew what happened when Rig Veda, I knew the timeline, I knew the features. Then the details I skipped, which meant that at least basic questions I will not be leaving, which everyone will be getting right. So be smart about it, and that's how you track. Now coming to the notes part, uh, so notes part I uh, used AI as for my 2025 attempt. Before that, I had handwritten. And what I did in brief, as I've talked about it also earlier, is that I uploaded my handwritten notes of previous year as well as the materials that were available to me and I was familiar with, as well as government documents like economic survey, national family health survey, these particular official documents I uploaded. And then I asked AI to combine all this and do not refer to the internet outside that, and created topic wise notes in the form of mains answers, revise them multiple times, and then made sure that whatever form my notes are in, that's the same way I will replicate my answers. So that's how I developed my style for that.
Right. So, one follow-up question on notes was like, when did you start answer writing tests after all notes made? So, obviously, you can answer this, but definitely, notes is something which is an evolving thing, and you cannot wait for your notes to complete before attempting questions. Or, yeah, your opinion, Shubhankar.
Yes, sir. I totally agree. It's an evolutionary thing. And even today, I don't have perfect notes. If I was taking the mains exam again, I would have went through the process again where I would have updated them with current affairs and even much more relevant structures, diagrams, as well as ways to answer a question.
Yeah,
So make sure that you simultaneously write answers. Even five, I told you, 35 minutes a day timed will really take you a long way than what you think it must not.
yeah. And one of the students who is appearing this year again, he is repeated. Appeared previously also. Akshay. He asks, I have observed that morning papers do affect of afternoon papers. How to ensure strong prep for GS1 and GS3 so that it can also help GS2 and GS4 papers.
So it's the same thing. It does not. Once you have done at home two papers a day wala practice,
Mhm.
then it does not matter. Even if somehow UPSC surprises you by conducting GS2 before GS1, it should not matter once you know that you have to write six hours continuously with a 2 hour break in the middle.
Right. This will be my first UPSC mains examination, but I haven't written a single answer yet. I don't know how to write or how to start. This is
Uh,
from somebody who's giving first mains,
okay.
and yeah,
Sir, then what to write is again, as I mentioned, it's replication and improvement. First, learn how to replicate. Go through topocopies. You don't need to invent your own style. There is already a plethora of writing styles available to you. Just make sure what suits you and what you think is doable within within the time you have. And then once you have, and since you're starting from ground zero, go to whatever model answers you have, go to PYQ with the model answer, read the model answer, immediately write it in your words what you have understood. And even if you are trying to check in between and write that, do that for at least the first 20 questions. I'm pretty sure from the 21st question, you will have a style, and then you will start writing without the model answer. And all this is provided that the basics are clear. It's just that you don't have writing experience.
right. And GS4 strategy is what people are interested in. Some of them mention that they lack expertise in handling the applied part of it. I'm finding it difficult to apply on questions and how to score good marks like you. And yeah, and in general, also ethics paper strategies. It's is what many people have asked. So let's address that.
So in my for me, what really is, so I was surprisingly okay in ethics both the time. First time 108, then this time 120. Um, it is it is the most non-mechanical paper of UPSC. It is also it should resonate with your morals, and that's when you can actually have very natural decision making that you develop. You need to not only ratify or memorize what integrity, compassion, empathy is, you need to feel it and you need to have some examples which move you. It's not that we should just quote our the father of the nation or some very prominent personality. There can be personal instances that you can use, but in a very short and crisp manner. Then the applied aspect, which I'm assuming are the case study, that's where you then bring the theory. It's very opposite. My strategy was very different. In theory, I used to personalize a lot and write it in my own words. But while I'm taking decisions in the case study, I used to uh, utilize the wisdom of our former philosophers that we study as a part of the syllabus. So if we are saying that we are carrying out justice, rather than plainly saying this, I used to say that this particular decision will actually fit in with the principle of Rawlsian justice. So Rawls gave the concept of justice, and this is how across both section A and section B, where section A had a lot of examples which moved me, and I remember them by heart. So I did not memorize them. And in section B, whatever theory learned in section A, I used to make sure that those technical words are really backing your decision making, because the whole essence of case study is that you are not yet a government official. So you cannot just say that I will do this and not justify it with with already in place theories, schemes, as well as precedented school of thought to present your decision. So this is a general overview of what I did in GS4.
All right. And someone has an interesting question like, what changes or improvements would you do if you had to appear in this year's mains again?
I would focus a lot on essay, and I will try to uh, find something for GS3. I have still not been able to cross 100 marks in GS3. I scored 91. So these two things I would really focus a lot on. I would I am at least with my level of preparation, I'm comfortable to even give 3 hours daily to essay to make sure I cross the 120 mark.
Right. Many toppers say that you have to differentiate your answers, have innovation. Should this innovation come naturally to you, or do you make conscious effort towards it?
You should have a conscious effort for it to come naturally to you, so that you need to find ways and avenues where you can differentiate, and then you'll someday somewhere down this particular activity you will realize that, oh, this is the unique thing about me, and this is what I will do. So what I did was I was very good at flowcharts, making it really reduced my time as well, and I was really good at coming with targeted way forwards. So despite my conclusions being weak, the way I used to write way forwards looked like they were conclusions, and that really helped me. So this was my style, and I think direct this is with direct practice that you develop, and I think in a week or two you will find your groove.
Right. And like Pratik is asking, how do you go about remembering so many things? I assume he's asking in general about prelims and mains. So anything unique or special that you used to do different that
No, sir, I'm very bad at memorizing. I just revised a lot, and I made sure that I remember the concept. So I am pretty sure there might not be more than one or two instances where verbatim what is written in the text I'm reading, I'm able to write it down. I always paraphrase it and write it in what I have understood. So
Yeah.
having conceptual clarity actually helps. It is too vast to memorize anything, and I'm not gifted that way that I can memorize everything that is written in the UPSC syllabus and related to it.
Yeah. GS2 में 100 and 120 मार्क्स के बीच में गैप्स क्या रहते हैं कंसिडरिंग कंप्लीशन ऑफ पेपर्स?
Sir, why current examples as well as conceptual clarity? Like polity में cases recent होने चाहिए, committees tips पे होनी चाहिए. We need to also make sure that we have, so it has the most neglected part of you all the four GS is, I think, social justice and empowerment and governance. Special focus should be given to that because that's around 100 marks and very high scoring if you have targeted examples, solutions, schemes, and way forwards. That's what helped me to, I think I had 116 in my first attempt and 123 this time. So this is I made, so what difference I did was I made sure now I have specific case studies and specific examples for empowerment, social justice, and governments, and that really helped.
Yeah, similarly, GS1 maybe society is something that people ignore.
That's
So,
interrelated, sir. So if
yeah,
once we are doing governance and social justice for GS2, a lot of examples will get repeated in society and vice versa.
right. I'm not sure if I understand this question correctly. What were you writing for 6 hours if no, if not answers daily?
Notes. I was reading something I used to understand while writing.
Yeah, and maybe we'll ask Shubhankar to share some of his notes and we'll share in our CollectorBabu channel. So yeah,
Right. Sir, handwritten notes, I don't have it scanned. I can share a few
yeah,
pictures.
yeah. Just
Uh,
for reference, whatever you have,
right.
we can share that. Strategy for geography optional, and again, like since for geography also you were enrolled in CollectorBabu's evaluation.
Right, sir.
So
So
brief.
I am actually writing an article, so I've been getting this a lot. And
Mhm.
is it okay if I give that article to you and you can post it on the channel for
Yeah, yeah,
geography
sure,
option?
sure. In fact, for all the papers, Shubhankar can include his strategy, uh, including optional geography, and we'll share with you folks.
Geography optional, I am particularly writing it in much detail with a lot of emphasis on nuanced things that I did for geography. My score is not that great; it's 272, but well, anything above 260 really helps you in optional to get a rank. So I'll still make sure I convey what I did. There are also other toppers who have scored around 280, 290. So you should also make sure that you take wisdom from them as well.
Okay. Future AIR one wants to know your favorite anime since there is a anime picture in your background.
Sir, my favorite anime is One Piece only. I've completed it. Uh,
Okay.
right now, I'm watching JJK. The one in the background. I'm on the final season right now.
Okay. So yeah, what your one pager notes look like?
Yeah, I'll share a few
Yeah,
images with you, sir.
we'll share references and regarding notes and paper-wise strategy, including essays. Yeah, we'll share that. And Shubhankar, any words on Collector Babu for both 26 and 27 aspirants? Uh,
Sir, I think the suggestions and the evaluation really shaped my answers. It played a very essential part in me achieving whatever I've achieved, and I really think that things could have been or would have been different. I mean, it's very tough to think what could have been and what could have been not. But I'm really grateful that uh, one of my friends, Kishle, actually, he's also associated with you. He's last year's Indian Forest Services ka AIR 44, and
yeah.
I really thank my stars that he recommended me this platform, and uh, that's how I'm here. So.
So Shubhankar like was very persistent and throughout his journey with us. So we would see uploads coming from him very regularly. So for people who are subscribed and who are planning to subscribe, please make sure that you maintain consistency and you know constantly improve with whatever you're getting as feedback. That is very important. It's not like you blindly just go write, keep on writing answers every few days without making improvements. You need to revise whatever feedback is coming in, incorporate it. Only then you'll be able to reproduce it in the final exam. Okay, so please address my doubt, or do we write it without any search? Sir, can we write essay after Google topic and get XCS anecdote etc. as beginner? कर दो यार
Yeah,
address
yeah.
कर रहे हैं
Any हाँ, any Google मतलब Google कर लो, use Chat GPT or anything, but make sure that you don't have very generalistic prompts. You explain the AI agent about what is the expectation of uh, UPSC and what is the general rule of writing essays for UPSC, and then get anecdotes. I also did it. I created themes, and I was like, for this particular theme, give me two anecdotes from Greek mythology, because I'm very interested in Greek mythology as well, because of a few video games. So I took those out, and then I created a compendium and I used it extensively.
Okay, one last question that we take is Geetika's how to approach PYQ. So how did you cover PYQs?
Sir, simple. I mentioned those 35 minutes, na? So those 35 minutes would have five PYQs of the topics I'm studying. So that way, generally, एक topic पे or subtopic पे there is barely 3-4 questions. So across theme, I used to just write those 5 questions within time. Earlier, 35 minutes rather than 35 minutes, it was 42 minutes, 45 minutes, brought it to 33 minutes, and that's how a lot, at least 80% of my PYQs for the past 5-7 years, I'm not even saying 10 years, for the past 5-7 years got completed like this only.
Right. Okay, thank you so much, Shubhankar. We tried to address as many questions, as many doubts as we can. Good. So we will do follow-up sessions in future as well. Uh,
Sure, sir.
People can connect on Collector Babu, Team Collector Babu. They can, if unfortunately we could not cover anyone's question, they can ping on Team Collector Babu and we'll get them answered async whenever Shubhankar has time. So, and especially geography optional folks, Shubhankar will share a strategy. And
So by tomorrow evening, I think by tomorrow end of day, I'll finish writing that article. I think a few other people have also requested it. I'll talk to you about it.
yeah, and there some we have already shared Shubhankar's evaluated papers on collectorbabu.com. You can visit there and you can check out the evaluated papers. And thank you again, Shubhankar, for taking.
Thank you so much, sir. No, sir, it's my pleasure, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you.